Welcome to the Software People Stories. I'm Shiv.
I'm Chitra.
And I'm Gayatri.
We bring you interesting, untold stories of people
Associated with the creation
Or consumption of software-based solutions.
You'll hear stories of what worked,
and sometimes what didn't,
you will also hear very personal experiences.
and insights that would trigger your thoughts
And inspire you to do even greater things.
Sapna Jhawer, a senior technology leader with nearly 2+ decades of experience. She talks about how her family experiences as business folk and her theatre and radio talk show experiences have helped her don and switch roles as a leader. She then shares some interesting tips on how to sustain oneself in technology. Listen on.
When we talk about occasions, especially here, it's transcending generation, right, of people that get involved. In fact, an analogy that I would look at is in healthcare as well. If you look at healthcare, if you look at banking, these are all sectors where, and given especially our society, is we have digital first natives. We have ourselves who experienced both the, not very pervasive digital environments, but we are using all of it now. And then we have older people with us who sort of want to be part of the whole thing. So we constantly find ourselves acting as bridges, whether millennials, Gen Z, and like you said, Gen Alpha. That's a new thing for me. So thank you. And all of this constant, in cross technology awareness or interaction is happening, right? What do you have to sort of say about it? And because everybody thinks that, hey, if there's an app out there, of course the largest market share today is I think a combination of millennials and Gen Z, right? But then very soon this whole demographic or this whole segment is going to shift, let's say in another 15-20 years, into the older segments where as humans we change and all of that, and then there's a very new cycle coming in. So what do you think would be a right way of sort of bridging this whole technology enabled decision making experience?
I believe the dynamics are shifting, right? So currently, we being, I think millennials are the one who are the bridge, right, between the Gen Z and the boomers and the other generation, and we have, right? So millennials have been always, that's what my observation is. I do not know if people agree to it or not, but I believe that millennials are the ones who have always been accept and try to bring people in the middle ground always. But I think with the dynamic shifting where millennials actually become the older generation and the Gen Alpha takes the center stage, not even Gen Z. What I have seen is that Gen Z has a very peculiar mindset. They want it fast, they want it now, and they're very clear about what they want. And Gen Alpha is taken it to the next level. I was talking to one of my friend's daughter who's just 8-year-old, Chitra, and she gave me this insight saying, everybody in life comes for a reason. My teachers come to teach me. My parents are here to grow me, shape my personality. My friends are here to entertain me. And she's just 8-year-old, and she knows it very well, what she wants, what everybody is. So imagine the kind of expectation they have from technology. If this is the expectation from humans, the kind of expectation they have from technology. So technology today is trying to understand the data and predict the data, right? Tomorrow it will not be the case, because the generation they're dealing with is like millennials. They already are aware of the adaptations. Millennials already adapted to the generative AI, right? But Gen Z is used to it. Whereas Gen Alpha, the expectations will be way too higher. So right now, what we're thinking of getting a middle ground where they're able to bring both the parties together is not going to happen. It is going to be more on influence side is what I believe generative AI will be shifting into. Right now, to find a middle ground. Tomorrow it will be the influence which will be done by the generative AI. In fact, Shark Tank had a company where they have this AI models who are actually the virtual influencers. who get on to, I mean, there are companies which actually create this generative AI model, have their Instagram page or social media handles, and they tie up with the other companies and they have their ad shoots and everything else where they try to, impersonate this entire thing and market it for them. So we've already headed there. So by the time another 10 years, I think it will be fully very different. I'm very excited for the future. I know there are multiple things which we need to work upon and all of those things, but I'm very, very excited for the future. At least being a tech area, the possibilities are limitless.
That's that's fascinating, Sapna. I also look forward to it and see what happens. Uh, just moving on to this uh, aspect of your career path, which I noticed in the write-up that you sent about yourself, was moving into leadership roles.
Yes.
What was that transition and journey like for you?
Yeah. So I'm a very curious. I have a morbid curiosity in my head. So if not tamed well, it will create problems, right? So I had to always constantly find something new which would tame my curiosity, which will keep me learning and give me problems to solve on everyday basis. I think tech is definitely an area which has kept me on my toes, and tech leadership, it's a different thing. It's uh, I'm not going to go back and say all the leadership is same. Every leadership, every person is different, and you have to have a very different kind of approach towards everything. But when you are dealing with a curious set of people who are as curious, or you're probably more curious than you, if you understand the technology, if you understand the vision where you want to go to, and bringing people along and making them achieve what they are capable, or probably more than what they think they are capable, it's a very beautiful journey in the mind. And that satisfaction, that not finding the right word for it, but the kind of happiness, the mental happiness what you get through is amazing. So I did have a very interesting journey from being a tech person to getting into leadership, is because I remember talking about multiple forums that in my one of my companies, we had an issue. We were an American company, like our products were sold in America, and we were all it was an Indian company, right? So the data center was located, because that time we didn't have cloud and all of those things. We had physical data centers, and there was a fire which broke out in that data center, and 400 plus clients were off their business. And it was such a and we were their partners, so we had to do something to be able to get them back online, because every minute you lose, you are losing money, right? So I think, as team of engineers, we all got together and say, okay, what can we do about it? Because our focus was always to prioritize our customer and make, do best for them. Very typical of a business mindset, right? So if your customer is happy, you will automatically become happy. So I think the customer obsession driven mindset what we had, we all got together, we were working continuously 46 hours, and there was a leader of ours who was not a very hands-on person, because he used to have a multiple team and multiple portfolios to handle, and he came from a very different background. The kind of work he was doing and trying to solve the problems for us before it even happens, without us even realizing that this could be a problem, and he was trying to solve it. And because I was constantly in front of him and being observant about what I was seeing, it made me very excited. Okay, this is a very different level of problem solving. This is so, I mean, you have to think so differently. You have to think on your feet, and you have to challenge yourself every minute. Probably like chess, you have to predict 10 more moves ahead and say, okay, this could be a problem here, and then you start doing it. So I think it opened up a new world for me. And I think I was blessed with a lot of mentors as well, Chitra, who actually shaped my journey on had handheld me on certain aspects of things what I had to do. So that's how I got interested in journey of being into getting into leadership. And then I happened to come across an interview of Indra Nooyi, where how, because she was a woman of influence, how she could introduce certain changes so easily, that it just fascinates me that if you are in a position of influence, how you can change just not the current company or the generation or the market and everything else. I mean, I'm just at awe of the kind of things people at influence can do. So I was like, okay, that's where I want to be. So that's how I started my journey into leadership.
Nice. Really nice that you had these mentors, people whom you can, watch actually when the action is happening, and that
Yeah.
I certainly believe that they are spaces where we can learn. I mean, our learning and experience is exponential. It's a
Yes,
lot
yes, for
more,
sure.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So, how would you describe yourself as a leader?
I am a very situational leader. I will not define myself as an autocratic or just an empathetic or a war hero or something like that. I'm very situational. I think my background on theater, being able to switch between personalities and think like a different character, was able to help me think differently when the situation used to come. So there were times where I've been saying, okay, I've just given the marching orders to the team, saying, okay, this is what we have to do. We don't have time to think through anything else. Let's just do this and get this done with, right? Because that's the need of the hour. And there have been times where I've stepped back and I've been very observant and being very a very good listener and let team drive certain things, because it was okay for us to get that done at that moment. That was the need of the hour. There have been times where I've been, okay, I've not done anything, I've not let my team do anything, but take just let the situation unfold itself in a way that they are able to think through and understand what they have to understand. Sometimes I've been a very mentoring or a coaching style of leadership, right, where they go back and they come back with certain things, and then you go back and you say, okay, why do you want, just question them to be able to get to where they have to do, right? Asking the right question sometimes is more critical than getting the answer. So it has been a very, I think that's the reason I say I'm a very situational leader. My core DNA is empathy, because I don't know, it's a women thing, or it's the elder sister syndrome, or or
Yeah.
it's the philanthropy with which I've been brought up with. Core DNA is empathy. I cannot, and I've been lucky enough to be trained from childhood to be able to step into the other shoes and understand what they are going through, feel it, and then accordingly give what, or accordingly do what I have to do. So
Nice. That's really nice. And I that was an interesting thing that you revealed, saying that you have interest in theater. So as a viewer of theater, or as an actor yourself?
I am an actor myself. So I
Yeah.
used to do, when I was a child, I think my first exposure to entire uh, drama was very audio. I think at the age of 9, I did my first radio show where I was supposed to play a character who was uh, this entire, I mean, Prahalad sir was my teacher, who was a social teacher, but he used to actually take us and get us exposed to all of those things. He trained me into voice modulation. He trained me into the impact of how voice can change this entire dynamic of an understanding of a behavior or an emotional experience just by listening in, right? So I think without even knowing, I got that in me. And when I started growing up, and he kept holding me, and when I started growing up, being able to disconnect from who I was, and being able to think like a character, or think or personify that person into yourself, and think that person, okay, this is how the person would react because of XYZ factor. That was very interesting analogy what he had given me. And did I remember the sentence he told me? He was a Kannada person, so he told me in Kannada one sentence, which I would not repeat that sentence, but I would, that the meaning of that particular thing was, translation was that it's an honor to be able to disconnect and connect, and again disconnect, but still have that part with you. So
Yeah, very profound, very nice.
yes, yes,
And I somewhat connected it to a leadership role where,
yes,
yes, you have to connect, disconnect, yet be there, yet be aware of what's going on around you, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah,
yes. So
yeah,
I think
very
I've
nice.
been blessed, Chitra. I'm a blessed soul. I mean, I didn't realize it only now that I've gone into a journey of self-awareness. past 2 years. I'm putting in a lot of effort to be very, very self-aware, because as soon as you get into a leadership role where you are managing leaders, just not individuals, it requires a different level of self-awareness. I think I've been on a journey of doing that, and I think this is where my old childhood things, or how I'm behaving, what I'm doing, why I'm doing so, that kind of question is coming in. And I think I'm able to relate to my a lot of incidents in my life where I've been automatically been blessed to be able to get trained so early in the age to all of these aspects.
That's awesome, Sapna. That's really nice. I know you specifically wanted to share some experiences with our listeners,
Yeah, yeah.
being a professional, and how your experiences had a deep impact, and what is it that you'd like to share with the world at large?
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes it's like, how do I put this? In Hindi, we say "Heere ki talash." So a diamond can be recognized only by a person who understands the diamond, right? And not everybody, or every time you get it, or not every market will understand the diamond because they're not used to it. So you have to go to the right place to get the right value or right understanding of things. So sometimes same is the life with the case of life, right? You have to go through certain experiences to be able to understand the profoundness of the impact of that experience on your life and why you had to go through certain things. So I think the kind of journey I had, I think as a child, I was a very happy child, very happy go lucky child, and always excited for everything, very enthusiastic, all of those things. And I think as growing up, there were a few things which I was exposed to, which took me to a different space. And the kind of restrictions I had in my mind because of the orthodoxy society and the family atmosphere I grew in, it took a lot of time for me to be able to brush that off and come back and say it's okay to be what you are, and it's okay to be what you want in your life. Because I was always told that, not my mother but my people around me, that as a woman you should never dream bigger than your man. You should always stay behind your man. Your man's happiness is everything for you. I think that was something which was very interior in my mind. And when my husband said it's okay, I mean, you want to do this, do it. And I was like, was it so simple? I only had to have a conversation with him. So I think I'm going everywhere. There are a lot of experiences I've had. A few of them have been very, very unfortunate at that very moment. But I think everything happens for your life for a reason. I am a strong believer of Gita and the Gyan what the Gita gives. There is so much more, there is a reason for everything in our life. At that moment we might not know because of the kind of grief we are surrounded by. But I think as and when you come out of it, you will realize how it has impacted you, how it has changed you for better. And it's your choice to get to be powerful and move on and create a purpose out of it, or be powerless and grieve and be just be there and be act as though you cannot do anything, which is not true.
Right. So I'm seeing lessons in resilience, lessons in understanding ourselves,
Yes.
which play a very important role in my view, for anybody seeking, while largely to live in the world, but also to navigate the workplace, how to thrive in the workplace. We've heard a lot about thriving in the workplace.
Yes.
Uh, Anything that significantly stands out, maybe as one or two moments uh, based on what you experienced, and how is it that you sort of uh, found that space to be able to reconnect back with work and with whatever had happened to you?
So I think I'll give you one particular, not even an incident. I'll say that I was always told that perception is a big thing, and you have to make sure your perceptions are right, because if the perceptions are wrong, then it will create a problem. What I didn't realize is that perceptions is just not the other people's mindset, is the experience you're leaving them with, right? And they build upon it. So I think I was trying to correct what others were thinking about me instead of correcting how I was behaving with them. So, in my head, I was not doing anything wrong. I was like, I am doing what is right, right? And it took a lot of time for me to realize, being very, very self-aware, that a certain behavior of mine is actually triggering all of this, right? And according to me, I was so like focused outward that I could never do, I mean, I could never correct things. This was like a 4 or 5 year backstory, right? Where I was like, okay, I am trying to do something best for the others people, for other people. And why is that they're not able to understand? And it took me a knock on my head to understand you have to be focused inward, not outward. Because if you are very, very defined and profound internally, you have your values defined, you have your integrity defined, and you always work accordingly, automatically the kind of experience you're leaving the people with is going to change, and that is what will automatically take care of your perception as well.
Nice, nicely said, Sapna. We've explored quite a bit in the course of this conversation. How would you like to describe your future for yourself in with respect to technology, with respect to yourself as an individual?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, my childhood dream was to be able to do business, right? And why did I have to ever do business is what I asked, because yeah, business is business. I think the joy of serving people, the joy of making somebody happy. My uncle had his wedding trousseau business, and he used to make good money also. It's not like there was a problem, but I remember that he used to go back and make every employee of their spend ample amount of time, irrespective of the kind of money that other person is spending, right? The experience, the making sure that their wedding shopping is very special. And that's why, I mean, he is now somewhere around in his 70s, but he gets invited to everybody's wedding. I mean, like, people whom he has served, their grandkids also wedding is getting invited to be able to have that human connect, to be able to have that kind of relationship, to be able to serve the people via your business and still make money out of it. Isn't that beautiful? I think that profoundness is what I enjoyed the most, and that's why I wanted to do business, because I thought by doing business I'm able to serve people without having to hear everybody or without having to hear everything, right? And I think during the 2 decades of experience I've had and multiple roles I've played, where I've directly spoken to customers and understand how technology can enable the same joy and behavior to be able to get through, was this is where I thought, okay, what is that I want to do, and how can I do? The engineering mindset kicks in and say, okay, this is my situation, this is what I want to do. So what is the solution for it, right? So am I ready to take an entrepreneurial journey? I believe entrepreneurial journey is a mindset. It's not about you always starting on your own, right? It's about somebody has already done certain things. Taking it to the next level is also an entrepreneurial journey. If somebody's already has taken you from step 0 to step 10, taking somebody from step 10 to step 100 is also an entrepreneurial journey. So I think what I want to do is I want to take a company which is already might be at 100 crore revenue, to take them to a 10,000 crore revenue, serve the associates, serve the employees, serve everybody in the process, serve the customer, and be able to make the impact I want to make in their life. The way Indra Nooyi made gender parity so easy, made the health of everybody a priority, right? And influence the way people eat and drink. I want to do something similar. I want to be able to give them that experience of, shopping or joy or whatever it is, be able to enjoy it from the comfort of their home.
It's a very, very powerful way of having put it, Sapna. Thank you so much. So before we call it a close to this conversation, are there some messages that you would like to leave people interested in getting in, for people who are interested in getting into the space of technology or IT, based on your experiences or otherwise?
Yeah. So as funky and dory it sounds, but it takes a lot of effort to be sustaining yourself in technology because of the fast-paced nature of the technology. So as I've mentioned in multiple forums, I will again repeat that as soon as you choose a field which is under constant innovation, you have to always remember that you're dedicating your life portion to be able to study and be be thinking future, right? There has to be a dedicated time, irrespective of you're a man, a woman, a Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Millennial. If you want to really contribute and sustain yourself in technology area, you have to study. You have to be at par. Only then, not only at par, in fact, you should be thinking future. What can I do? What can we do, right? So that is one thing. Second thing is, don't get stuck at one particular area. I think software, people think of software. No, software is a huge, it's an ocean, more than ocean, I believe, where there are so many roles, so many different kind of things. The more exposed you get to different things, that's how your brain gets opened up. Because when you think like a developer, you think in a certain way. You think like a QA, you think like a certain way. Release management, program management, or be it product, or be it your practices, be it your process, everybody thinks in a different way. So being able to have a whole rounded experience, I believe everybody should be able to take that risk of switching between different roles, different technology, because a Java person thinks very differently than a .NET person, again in the coding language itself, right? Or a person who's thinking probably who's trained in ML will think very differently than a regular Java person. So I think getting exposed to different mindsets is very useful for a whole rounded experience. Being able to understand what software can do and what cannot do. And if somebody wants to get into, wants to do business, believe me, leadership is like a business where your stakeholders are your customers, your team is your customer, and you are here to serve everybody and still meet the interest you are supposed to meet.
That was very nicely put, Sapna, and a very beautiful way to round off this conversation. I have, learned so much about you as a person. It was an absolute pleasure having this conversation with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chitra. I think you are doing a wonderful thing of getting people come and talk about software and their own people and the stories about both the worlds. It's such a wonderful thing that a lot of people do not think techies are the kind of humans they are. So they have such a singular mindset about techies. I think bringing their stories out to the world and getting to know them with their experiences more than just their technology is such an amazing, it's a noble thing. So
Thank you.
thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed every word of this conversation. So I hope I'm able to contribute to the value of people who are listening in.
Certainly, I am quite sure it will.
We thank Siddharth for the music and Anita for promoting the Software People stories.
If you like this episode,
Please subscribe on your favorite podcast client.
And spread the word in your network.
if you'd like to share your story,
Contact us at podcasts@pm-powerconsulting.com.